My name is Rhonda. I'm 63 years old, retired, and living alone just outside Nashville, Tennessee. What happened that night changed the course of my life and cost me something I may never get back. But before we get there, you need to know what led to it. How silence, loneliness, and years of emotional starvation opened the door I never meant to leave unlocked. It was a little past midnight, and the house was unusually still, as it always is since my husband passed. I had just finished a hot shower. Steam still clung to the mirrors, and my skin carried the warmth of the water. I walked into the bedroom, letting the quiet wrap around me like a heavy blanket. That's when I realized I had forgotten to lock the door. Before I could react, the door creaked slightly, and I turned. Standing there, unexpectedly, was Philip, my granddaughter Lily's boyfriend. He was 22, probably looking for something he left behind. He looked surprised. So was I. We both froze. I expected him to look away, to apologize, to step out quickly, but he lingered, not in words, but in the way his eyes held mine. There was something different in his gaze, curious, unsure, and oddly intense. It unsettled me. I should have said something. Closed the door. Covered up. I didn't. And that was my first mistake. What followed wasn't sudden. It wasn't even physical, not then. It was a shift. A quiet, almost imperceptible shift in the air between us. Something that had no name but carried weight. Let me take you back. Months earlier, Lily, my only granddaughter, moved in with me to save on college rent. She brought life into my home again. Laughter, noise, music, the smell of her late-night coffee. And Philip came with her on weekends, mostly. At first, he was just polite, kind. Then came the compliments, the longer looks, the moments that seemed to stretch a little too long. I brushed it off. Maybe he was just being sweet. But deep down, I noticed, and worse, I responded. I began to care more about how I looked when he came over. A little lipstick, a nicer blouse. Nothing obvious, just different. I told myself I was imagining it, that I was being silly. But I wasn't. Something was brewing, quietly and dangerously. Then came that note. The morning after the door incident. Tucked on my pillow. For words that changed everything. I saw you. I liked it. I stared at it for what felt like hours. My heart raced. My hands shook. It felt like a whisper in a silent room, echoing over and over. I should have thrown it away, burned it, told Lily, but I didn't. That Friday night, Lily went out of town for a photography conference. I was alone in the house, and when the doorbell rang at 9 p.m., I didn't expect to see him. He said he forgot his phone charger. I believed him, maybe I wanted to. I let him in. I offered him a glass of wine. We sat in the living room, both pretending this was normal, but at WASN single quotes T. His voice was quiet when he asked, "Did you get my note?" I nodded, my voice barely above a whisper. I said, "You shouldn't have left it." He just looked at me. I meant every word. There's no need to go into detail, because the truth is it should have never happened. A moment of emotional weakness became something irreversible. I broke my own rules. I crossed a line I never imagined I would. The next morning, I woke up feeling confused, ashamed. And then I saw her, Lily. She had come home early. She stood in the doorway, her eyes wide, her body frozen. She saw everything. I'll never forget the look on her face, hurt, shock, betrayal. She didn't say a word. She just turned around and walked out. I ran after her, but the damage was already done. She didn't come back for days. When she finally did, her eyes were red, her voice cracked. And she asked just one question, why him? I had no answer. Nothing that could undo what I had done. I had mistaken attention for affection. Loneliness had tricked me into thinking that being noticed meant being valued. But it was a lie. Lily moved out the following week. No goodbyes. Just silence. Philip vanished not long after. Blocked her, ghosted me, disappeared. Whatever connection I thought existed, it meant nothing to him. Just a thrill. A moment. And I had thrown away my granddaughter's trust for it. Now the house is quieter than ever. And that silence. It's not peaceful anymore. It's heavy, haunting. That unlocked door didn't just open to him. It opened something inside me, something broken. And once it was out, I couldn't put it back. I sit here now, surrounded by memories of Lily, her laughter, her hugs, the way she used to call me her safe place, and I shattered that. All for one moment of feeling alive. So here I am, sharing this story not for sympathy, but as a warning. Loneliness is dangerous. It whispers things that sound like love but leave only regret. To those of you still watching, thank you. If this story made you feel something, anger, heartbreak, disappointment, I want to hear it. Would you have forgiven me if you were in Lily's shoes? Or would you have walked away too? Please comment below. Like and share if you feel compelled. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more real, raw stories like this one. Until next time, guard your heart. And never underestimate what one small moment can cost. After Lily left, the days blurred together. The home that once buzzed with her late-night studying, her laughter, her phone calls with friends, it became hollow. I would walk past her empty room and pause at the doorway, hoping maybe I'd hear her voice, see her bag tossed on the chair, like she always did. But it never happened. I started writing in my journal again, not about Philip, not about the night, just about the ache, the silence, the grief. I wasn't mourning a man, I was mourning the trust I destroyed. The love I had once nurtured like a garden, now dried and cracked. I thought about reaching out to Lily. I wrote letters I never sent, recorded voicemails I deleted before sending. I couldn't find the words that didn't sound like excuses. One day, I drove past her campus. I saw her walking with a friend. She looked, fine, stronger, but also a little colder. She didn't see me, and I didn't stop. I didn't want to make her carry the weight of my guilt all over again. You see, people think the worst part of making a mistake is the moment it happens, but it's not. It's the slow, echoing aftermath. The way your memory replays it without mercy. The way time doesn't heal it, just reminds I tried to rebuild my life. I volunteered at the library. I took up baking again. I even got a rescue dog, an old golden retriever named Charlie. He doesn't ask questions. He just rests his head on my lap and reminds me that love doesn't always have to come in complicated forms. But still, on some nights when the wind howls through the trees or the radio plays an old country song Lily used to hum, I break. Quietly, in the dark, with no one watching. That's the part people don't tell you about shame. It's patient. It waits until everything is still. And then it sits beside you like an old friend. I often wonder what Lily tells people when they ask about me. Does she say I died? That we lost touch? Does she change the subject? Maybe one day she'll come back. Maybe she'll forgive me. But I'm not waiting on that. I don't deserve it just because I regret what I did. And Philip. He became nothing more than a shadow in my story. He didn't ruin my life. I did. I handed over my integrity for a flicker of attention. A choice that cost me the most meaningful relationship I had left. To those of you still here, still listening, maybe you've made a mistake too. Maybe not the same one, but something that cracked your life in two. I want you to know this. You're not beyond redemption. But redemption isn't owed. It's earned through humility, through honesty, and, sometimes, through a lifetime of doing better without ever being told you're forgiven. I share this not to confess, but to connect. Because if one person hears this and stops before crossing that line, if one heart is spared from what mine has endured, then maybe this story wasn't told in vain. So what would you have done? Would you have forgiven me if you were Lily? Or are some betrayals too deep to repair? Let me know in the comments. I read them all. And even if I can't answer every one, I feel your presence. Please like this video if it touched you. And share it with someone who might need to hear it. Subscribe if you believe in second chances. In real stories, in the beauty of truth, even the broken kind. Until next time, I'm Rhonda. And I'm still learning how to live with the woman in the mirror.